They call him the Mexican Monster, and for good reason. He doesn't just beat opponents, he dismantles them. Unbroken, unstoppable, a force of nature disguised in gloves and bad intentions. His pressure is suffocating, his combinations hit like a runaway train, and once David Benavidez smells weakness, it's already too late. Champions avoid his name, and contenders whisper it with fear. But when the final bell fades, the destruction doesn't end. It evolves. He cruises through the city in supercars, living in luxury carved from knockouts and chaos. Young, rich, and still hungry, a monster whose empire has only begun to rise. So, before we step into the pressure, the punishment, and the reign of David Benavidez, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Because this isn't just boxing, this is a monster coming for the crown. Before the lights, before the belts, before the roar of packed arenas, there was a boy staring at his own reflection, fighting a battle no one else could see. His name was David Benavidez, born on December 17, 1996, to a Mexican father and an Ecuadorian mother in the blazing heart of Phoenix, Arizona. Trained under his father's watchful eye, alongside his brother José Benavidez Jr., David's earliest lessons weren't in fame. They were in fight. But as a teenager, he drifted. His weight soared to 250 pounds, and his dream of becoming a champion nearly disappeared beneath it. Until one day, something inside him broke, or perhaps ignited. Every punch from that moment wasn't just training, it was redemption. That fire would carry him into the record books. At just 20 years old, he became the youngest super middleweight world champion in history, a feat few even dared to chase. He'd go on to dominate the division twice, before conquering new territory in 2025, capturing both the WBA and WBC light heavyweight titles, solidifying himself as one of boxing's most feared and relentless forces. With an estimated net worth of $11 million and a legacy still in motion, David Benavidez isn't just chasing greatness, he's reshaping it. But getting here wasn't easy, because the Mexican Monster was never born in the ring. He was forged in the fight to become it. He didn't just win his professional debut. He obliterated Erasmo Moreno in a single round, sending a message that echoed far beyond that tiny venue. A new kind of beast had arrived. By the time he was ready, the world almost wasn't. When he finally entered the professional ranks, Benavidez was a boy fighting men and beating them. His rise was meteoric. By 2015, he had already claimed his first belt, the NAF Junior Light Heavyweight title, leaving a trail of fallen opponents and wide-eyed promoters. His fists spoke louder than his words, and every knockout was a chapter in a story no one could ignore. Soon, big promoters came calling. In late 2015, he signed with Samson Lukovic, officially stepping into the boxing machine that forges champions. But he wasn't there to blend in. He was there to dominate. Early 2016 saw him destroy Kevin Cobbs live on national TV. 2 rounds, 1 flurry, and a referee forced to intervene. That became the pattern. April, June, August, each fight ending the same way. A storm of punches, a stunned opponent, and a teenager walking away as if it were routine. By 2017, the world had started whispering his name. On the Frampton Santa Cruz undercard, he delivered fireworks, flooring Shirley Mamajinov twice in 2 rounds, and then flattening Rogelio Medina in 8, a statement win that made the boxing world take notice. He wasn't just good, he was dangerous, and that danger soon earned him a shot at immortality. When Badou Jack vacated his WBC super middleweight title, opportunity knocked, and David answered with both fists. The opponent, Ronald Gavril. The stage, Las Vegas. The stakes, history. At just 20 years old, David Benavidez fought through fatigue, a knockdown, and pure chaos to capture the WBC Super Middleweight Championship, becoming the youngest super middleweight champion the sport had ever seen. It wasn't his cleanest performance, but it was the kind that builds legends. Raw, gritty, unforgettable. He'd earned the crown, but wearing it would prove harder. The following year brought scandal, a positive test for cocaine that stripped him of his title and reputation. The critics wrote him off as another wasted talent. The monster, they said, had destroyed himself. But monsters don't die, they evolve. 5 months later, he returned to the ring with fury in his eyes. Against Julian Love in 2019, Benavidez erased every doubt, dismantling his opponent in 2 vicious rounds. Redemption wasn't something he asked for, it was something he took. That same year, fate brought him face-to-face with Anthony Dirrell. And this time, David didn't just win back his belt. He made a statement. Round after round, he punished Dirrell until the corner had no choice but to throw in the towel. The kid who'd once lost control was now the man no one could control. But discipline is a cruel teacher. In 2020, a single mistake on the scale cost him his title again. Stripped not by defeat, but by his own body, the echoes of that teenage struggle came roaring back. Still, when the bell rang against Romer Alexis Angulo, Benavidez fought like a man chasing ghosts. 10 rounds later, Angulo's corner surrendered, unable to bear the onslaught. From there, the monster went on a rampage. Ronald Ellis, Kyron Davis, David Lemieux, all crushed under the same relentless pressure. By 2022, Benavidez had reclaimed his throne, now as the WBC interim super middleweight champion, and the world demanded the showdown. Benavidez versus Plant. March 25, 2023. The MGM Grand in Las Vegas. He started slow, patient, calculating. But once he found his rhythm, the fight turned into a masterclass in controlled destruction. Plant, as tough as they come, simply couldn't withstand the storm. 12 rounds later, Benavidez stood tall, undefeated, vindicated, and ready for the king, Canelo Alvarez. But destiny had other plans. Later that year, he faced Demetrius Andrade, a slick, undefeated technician who'd avoided danger his entire career, until that night. For the first few rounds, Andrade boxed beautifully, until Benavidez's power found him. Round by round, he broke him apart, until Andrade's corner threw in the towel. The crowd roared. Mike Tyson himself called him the future. The monster's legend was complete. And yet, he wasn't done climbing. In 2024, he moved up, chasing history once again. Against Oleksandr Gvozdyk, he conquered the light heavyweight division, claiming the WBC interim title with surgical dominance. Then, as if fate couldn't resist, he was upgraded to full world champion after Dmitry Bivol vacated, a passing of the torch that crowned Benavidez as the new ruler of the division. Now, in 2025, with 2 world titles wrapped around his waist and an undefeated record to protect, he prepares for his next conquest, a high-stakes defense against Britain's own Anthony Yarde under the blinding lights of Riyadh. From an overweight teen in Phoenix to a global powerhouse with millions in the bank and millions more watching, David Benavidez has lived the impossible transformation. And as he walks into another arena, calm, cold, and ready, one question hangs in the air. If this is what the Mexican monster has done so far, what comes next? And when the flashing lights dim, when the roar of the crowd fades into silence and the gloves come off, there's just a man, not the monster the world sees in the ring, but a husband, a father, a soul grounded by love. Behind the cold stare and crushing power of David Benavidez lies a quiet devotion few ever see. A love story written not in luxury, but in loyalty. At the heart of his world is Karina Silva, his wife, his calm in the chaos. An entrepreneur and model with grace as fierce as his punch, Karina built her own empire in beauty and fashion while standing firmly beside his. Together, they've weathered the highs and lows of fame, never chasing attention, only purpose. And then there are the 2 reasons he fights harder than ever: his children. A son and a daughter who see not a world champion, but dad. Their laughter fills the silence after every brutal camp. Their hugs heal the bruises the cameras never catch. To the world, he's the Mexican monster. To them, he's just David, the man who fights so they never have to. But even love has its battles, and his next one could test everything he's built. From the roar of the crowd to the hush behind glass walls overlooking Miami's skyline, David Benavidez now lives in a world few ever reach. But every inch of his luxury was forged from sweat, sacrifice, and the discipline that once pulled him out of darkness. Inside his world, nothing is ordinary. His Brickell penthouse isn't just a home, it's a statement. Sunlight dances across white marble floors as his children's laughter echoes through open spaces designed for both peace and power. Beside his wife, Karina Silva, mornings begin not with chaos, but calm, a reminder that even the fiercest warriors crave stillness. Then there's the garage, his personal cathedral of horsepower. A $1.5 million Ferrari SF90 Stradale sits front and center, its hybrid roar symbolizing controlled chaos. Nearby, a Lamborghini Aventador S Roadster, a $960,000 V12 beast, mirrors the same relentless aggression that defines the Mexican monster. A Tesla hums in quiet contrast, while a BMW X5 stands ready for family drives through the city. And yet, Benavidez's empire extends far beyond engines and marble. From Adidas to box straw, from Legend Auto Sales to his own Benavidez clothing line, his brand blends intimidation in the ring with elegance outside it. Diamond-encrusted watches glint beneath arena lights, not as vanity, but as victory. Because for David Benavidez, luxury isn't the destination. It's proof that legacy was always the plan. Before you go, don't miss out on exclusive perks. Click the link in the description to become a channel member and enjoy awesome benefits, like suggesting future video topics, getting early access to new content 48 hours before anyone else, and much more. Your support means the world and helps us keep bringing you the stories you love. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more amazing content. And while you're here, why not check out our deep dive into Nassim Prince Haim video? Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.